morning, everyone. I'm just waiting another 30 seconds to make sure everyone is connected and in from the waiting room. Okay, well, I think we are ready to begin. Good morning. My name is Jacqueline Rhodes. I'm the Assistant Executive Director at Pinelands Preservation Alliance. We're a nonprofit organization dedicated to the protection, enhancement, and accessibility of the Pine Barrens in South Jersey. My colleagues and I are here this morning to present our 17th annual State of the Pinelands report, where we highlight actions as well as lack of action taken by several entities and individuals, all the way from the federal government to local municipalities. And before I turn it over to my colleagues that will highlight mostly many of the positive or otherwise known as thumbs up given in the report today, I wanted to just go over a couple of the disappointments that we've had over this past year, in particular as it relates to actions that Governor Murphy had not taken that we were really hoping for in 2023. More specifically, he failed to nominate individuals to fill 3 vacant seats on the Pinelands Commission. He denied the Pinelands Commission request for more staff funding in last year's budget. He allowed the corporate business tax surcharge to expire, which is approximately a loss of about $44 million just in 1 year. The corporate business tax has a dedication for several programs, one in particular for open space acquisition. But besides that, considering all the unmet needs that exist in the state, that surcharge money could be used for enhancing a number of things, including fixing our parks, which we'll hear a little bit more about later. And lastly, he also did not increase funding for payment in lieu of taxes for open space preservation, which was at its high during his administration back in 2021. Overall, I will say, even though we have a number of thumbs down for Governor Murphy, on a positive note, we are happy with the leadership in New Jersey, which has created a much more robust Department of Environmental Protection. But at the end of the day, we hope Governor Murphy will do more for the Pinelands in the next year. So with that said, I would like to turn it over to Heidi Ye, who will move us through how we develop our thumbs up and thumbs down for our State of the Pinelands reports.
Thank you, Jacqueline. The Pinelands Preservation Alliance presents this annual report to sum up the health of the Pinelands preservation efforts by our federal, state, and local government agencies. We also highlight the work of other nonprofits and businesses that impact the region. We seek to provide the public and the agencies themselves with a report card that we can all use to move forward and do better in protecting this unique natural treasure. In 1978, Congress passed the National Parks and Recreation Act, which established the Pinelands National Reserve, our country's first. In 1979, New Jersey adopted the Pinelands Protection Act, which created the Pinelands Commission and directed the commission to adopt a comprehensive management plan, which we refer to as the CMP, to manage development throughout the region. Our annual State of the Pinelands report reviews select actions or inactions of the last 12 months to provide the most comprehensive account of public policy actions that affect the Pinelands National Reserve. So for each of the thumbs up and thumbs down that you'll hear throughout this report, we applied 6 criteria to reach these conclusions to assess each action, namely whether each action, 1, upholds the integrity of the comprehensive management plan, number 2, protects native habitats for plants and wildlife, number 3, safeguards the quality of Pinelands aquifers and surface waters, number 4, ensures the integrity of the water supply for people and the ecosystems, number 5, enhances the cultural and historic resources of the area, and number 6, advances education about the Pinelands. Next, Jason Howell, our public lands advocate, will start us off with the first topic.
Hi, everyone. Can everybody hear me okay? First question. Good, loud and clear. Okay, great. So what I'm discussing today is the recent release or draft release of the Wharton State Forest visitor map. So some of you may remember there was an attempt to do this in 2015, which failed under the Christie administration. Wharton is the largest state park in New Jersey, and since 1954, when the state acquired it, it has never had a really comprehensive visitor map, a visitor use plan. So under the Murphy administration, we are lucky that they were able to put forward a really comprehensive public process, and they will be releasing the result of that process in a draft visitor map next on January 24th. So we hope that this map will help protect habitats, sensitive habitats like ponds, dunes, spungs, and the really critical endangered species sites that we, try so hard to protect in the Pinelands. And we also hope that it helps facilitate public access, because Wharton and the Pinelands in general has never been more popular in the public. And without a comprehensive visitor map, it results in sort of a chaos situation. People don't know where to go. They get their vehicles stuck. And overall, it results in damage to the habitat because of unmanaged use and a lack of facilitation to the public. So after taking thousands of comments, we hope the department has a speedy approval process for this map, implements it successfully, and we really need people to submit comments. So we want people to come to the open house at Basto on January 24th, submit written comments with their opinion, and hopefully this results in an overall benefit to the Pinelands and for the recreational community at large. Our next speaker is Sean. He's going to be discussing accessible trails, which has been another really strong priority of Pinelands Preservation Alliance this year.
Thank you, Jason. Hello, everybody. My name is Sean Kane Holland. I'm the Access Nature Disability Advocate with Pinelands Preservation Alliance. At our organization here, we recognize that being outdoors in nature has benefits for our health and well-being. Studies have shown that if people feel safe, time in nature can lower blood pressure, reduce stress, and improve mood and overall mental and physical health. However, these benefits are not as widely available to everyone in public spaces and are not designed with disabilities in mind. There are over 940,000 individuals in our state of New Jersey who identify that they have a disability. Of this number, at least half struggle with mobility concerns. Another 200,000 have hearing concerns. Additionally, over 100,000 have visual impairments, while nearly 350,000 managing cognitive concerns. There is no one-size-fits-all solution when it comes to making these places and services inclusive and accessible for all. However, we should not let that be a deterrent to making our valued natural resources more inclusive and accessible to the largest number of individuals possible. There is a great need for New Jersey to address the needs of this particular underrepresented community so the entire community can learn, interact, and recreate together. Towards this end, we are allying with individuals with disabilities, organizations dedicated to the welfare of those with disabilities, and public and private land owning agencies to help overcome these barriers so that everyone can enjoy the benefits of time in nature by visiting parks, forests, and preserves which our state and communities have protected. Our Pinelands is for Everyone initiative provides several online resources as well as through leadership and action. These include the accessnaturenj.org map, which is a mobile-friendly website that provides detailed information and images of trails and scenic locations that are to some degree accessible and inclusive to individuals with disabilities. Second, we organized the Access Nature Forum, which was created to bring together a diverse section of like-minded individuals to have conversations and about improving access to natural places. We aim to engage those with disabilities, their families, caregivers, advocacy groups, land managers, from nonprofit organizations, state and local officials, and agencies in a public discourse that identifies public interest and concerns, ideas, and join their voices for improving access to these natural places. We also offer assistance to state, local, and nonprofit land managers to create more accessible trails, inclusive nature-based educational programming, and improved facilities with people with disabilities in mind. Fourth, through our Pinelands Adventures outfitter, we aim to help become comfortable exploring or helping people with disabilities help explore natural spaces by offering guided nature trips that are designed for everyone, including those with disabilities. And then finally, we inspire to show the world that everyone can enjoy the joys of nature in the Pinelands. We aim to use images, videos, and testimonials to show that everyone can explore the Pinelands if appropriate trails, facilities, and programs made available. We are fortunate to have financial support of the Inclusive Healthy Communities program, sponsored by the New Jersey's Department of Human Services, the Division of Disability Services, and the participation of various public and private entities to make all this work possible. With that, I'm going to turn over to Stephen Elliott, our water outreach coordinator.
Can I just add a word on the accessibility topic? I think it's important also to highlight that in addition to persuading land managers, particularly all the state and local governments, to incorporate accessibility into their facilities planning and how they manage their properties, we've recognized that it's really important now to look at the regulatory schemes that govern the creation of trails and scenic locations for people, because they are not designed with accessibility in mind, and they actually create significant obstacles of cost and time to improving trails for accessibility. But that's also a priority that we're working on.
All right, as Sean said, my name is Stephen Elliott, and I'm the Water Outreach Specialist for Pinelands Preservation, as well as the Association of New Jersey Environmental Commissions. As you'll see in this year's report, flooding is more costly than any other natural hazard in our country, and New Jersey is, of course, no exception. Climate change is increasing precipitation in New Jersey, and our concrete nation is unprepared to handle it. Much of our land has been converted from fields and forests to concrete and asphalt, which is much less capable of absorbing stormwater. What our landscape makeover program does is it introduces municipalities to green stormwater infrastructure and helps to implement these best management practices. Instead of connecting pipes directly to nearby streams, which can quickly be overwhelmed and flooded by these unnatural inputs, we build rain gardens, bioswales, and naturalized turf grass areas, which then act as natural sponges. Numerous municipalities are recognizing the benefits of adopting these practices, which include improved water quality, landscape aesthetics, and flood prevention. This past year, we have worked with the townships of Evesham, Hainesport, Lumberton, Mount Laurel, Pemberton, Tabernacle, and Winslow to plan, improve, or install green stormwater infrastructure. This year, we look forward to working with even more communities through our Department of Environmental Protection Lakes Grant, which will allow us to address inland flooding and water quality issues in both the Pinelands and Highlands Lake communities. The work of this program has been bolstered by tree planting initiatives, and we would like to highlight New Jersey American Water with a thumbs up this year, and a special thanks for helping us plant native trees in Lumberton Township through their environmental grant program. When fully grown, trees can store and redirect thousands of gallons of water. Unfortunately, though, the trees and rain gardens that we plant with grant funding cannot completely counterbalance the shortcomings of the human-built environment. There is no substitute for the systemic changes that can be achieved with the consistent, dedicated funding that a stormwater utility would provide. That is why we have given Camden County a thumbs up for taking the first step in establishing a stormwater utility. The county recently completed a feasibility study which quantifies the extent of the problem and estimates the funding needed to address it. Currently, stormwater infrastructure is treated as one big drainage system that is funded by all taxpayers, regardless of their individual contribution to the problem. A stormwater utility would shift this burden to entities with the greatest footprint of impervious surfaces, regardless of their taxed or tax-exempt status. This provides a financial incentive for property owners to mitigate their own contribution to the problem through things like green infrastructure. We hope more New Jersey municipalities will embrace this mechanism for creating stronger and more resilient communities. Now I'd like to introduce Saya Amusa, who is our PPA community liaison and also the executive director of the Opportunity League.
Thank you, Stephen. And so I would like to talk about the Opportunity League. The Opportunity League is a 501c3 nonprofit organization based in Burlington City that has been working in the area for about 15 years. The Burlington City is currently ranked among the top 50 cities in New Jersey classified as a food desert community and is classified as an environmentally overburdened community by the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency. Through multi-sector partnerships across the nation, TOL works to close the equity gap in the areas of food access, education and career pathways, recreation, sports, and economic development. TOL recently established a nonprofit grocery store called Villages Community Marketplace. This will serve as a central hub that will provide healthy, fresh groceries and a community garden to residents of Burlington City. Benefits extend beyond just bringing fresh produce to the community, as it will also create a local economy that provides jobs and opportunities for community members to shop and recirculate their money locally. PPA and the Opportunity League have an ongoing collaboration in work pertaining to food access. This year, the second year that TOL and PPA have collaborated by hosting 15 farm-to-table students at the local farm, interns to learn about farming at Rancocas Creek Farm. Additionally, TOL has enrolled 11 CSA box shareholders who receive weekly produce deliveries without the need to trek out into the farm. TOL is the first to be awarded PPA's Catalyst of Change Award, honoring innovation and collaboration, inspiring environmental and agricultural sustainability. Some of the programs that our students have currently engaged in this past year are STEM, environmental science, youth farm-to-table internship program, and the National Youth Leadership Council Education in Action. With that being said, I'm going to turn it over to Jacqueline.
Thanks, Saya. Thanks, everyone. In closing, I just wanted to highlight a couple of our hopes for the upcoming year. As you've already heard from me in the beginning, our disappointments, which I hope will turn around and we'll see some improvements in the new year, which would include, filling the empty seats on the Pinelands Commission. We lost a great hero, a wonderful Pinelands champion, someone referred to as the godfather of the Pinelands, Ed Lloyd, this past year. And his seat is still empty. It is understandable to take the time to fill that seat with someone that could represent the same vision and leadership as we had found with Ed Lloyd. But our hope is that that will be done very soon, in addition to the other vacant seats. We also hope that in the new budget that we will see more robust funding, increased funding for the Pinelands Commission. Key staff positions include people that can focus on stormwater and climate change, which are key threats to the Pinelands. We also would like to see not only the governor, but the state legislature look at ways to address the unmet needs in our state parks and forests. Obviously, more staffing is needed there. Significant capital improvements are needed as well. Although we are pleased to see the creation of a state parks foundation, that alone will not fix all the problems. That cannot be used usually for, hiring staff. It can be used for some special projects and things like that, and it is only just beginning. So we need to continue to find ways to increase funding for the needs that exist there. These are places for people to recreate. It also includes addressing some of the damages that take place. It also includes creating more accessible trails. And of course, all the partners that are involved that we hear about, that we talked about today. We'll continue to provide those opportunities and find funding mechanisms for helping to supplement those needs, but it will never be enough. And so that needs to be a key focus in 2024. With that said, we have a lot of great partnerships with the Opportunity League, a lot of other partnerships that people utilize in enjoying our Rancocas Creek Farm, where we do offer farm shares to the public and opportunities for people to come out and enjoy the natural settings. We also like to take people out on the waterways and enjoy the Wharton State Forest and other places through our Pinelands Adventures program. So 2024 looks bright. Hopefully we'll continue to provide some positive results like we've seen in 2023, but we will continue to work on seeing successes in the new year. Thank you to all my colleagues for sharing this morning, and thank you for all the reporters for attending, and we're happy to answer any questions you might have.
Yeah, I had a question. Could you talk about what the commission was unable to do because it was down members, or did it just proceed with business as usual with fewer members?
I'm sorry, I missed the beginning. What was the commission unable to do? Is that what you had said?
Yes.
So, mostly as it related to funding, they were really hoping to hire some additional staff to address these threats that they've been dealing with, as well as many other places have been dealing with regarding climate change, increased stormwater runoff. There is a climate committee that the commission formed, but they have said time and again that due to limited staffing, they're really not able to put into the work that they need to do in order to generate the either revisions to the comprehensive management plan or increasing other programs that may be beneficial to addressing the impacts of climate change. So that is one key thing that they have not been able to do. I mean, the committee continues to meet. They use existing staffing to continue to work through some of the suggestions that have come from PPA as well as other commissioners. But I welcome my other colleagues who would like to highlight any other unmet needs that have taken place as a result of the commission not being fully funded or fully staffed.
Well, if the question was about commissioners, the number of commissioners, it's always hard to say you didn't do this because you didn't have these additional 3 commissioners, but in practice, a lot of energy to push the staff towards taking actions, solving issues, closing the circle on projects that have been pending in some cases for years or decades comes from commissioners. And the more commissioners we have that are dedicated to the Pinelands, the more energy and pressure and ideas you have pressing the staff. So we think it's important to always have the commission full, even if we don't have, even if we have more than 8 votes. The commission can only act on 8 votes, 8 affirmative votes, one way or the other. They clearly have enough people on the commission to get 8 votes if it's entirely uncontroversial. But the next controversial vote that comes up, it could become an issue to have enough commissioners, especially enough commissioners that are really dedicated to the Pinelands, to carry through on those projects.
And, there have been times in the past where if someone is sick or didn't show up to a meeting, that presents a challenge where they're not able to give approvals because they didn't have the necessary votes. So even though technically you do have enough people to still carry through and vote on items, if you just get a couple of people that, weren't there for whatever reason, then obviously that delays progress. Other questions? And feel free to just unmute yourself or raise your hand or post in chat if you can't speak.
Yeah, could you describe the impact, the lack of funding, the cuts the commission and received in funding and the impact of the loss of the 43 or 44 million dollars in corporate business surcharges will have on things that you are seeking to accomplish this year in the Pinelands?
Sure. So just to be clear, the commission had requested more money in order to create additional positions to deal with issues that, historically they have not been able to address. So not that there was necessarily a cut, but, the governor did not include an increase in funding for that staffing. Regarding the corporate business tax surcharge, there was a constitutional dedication a number of years ago for green acres, blue acres, farmland preservation, historic preservation, and stewardship. And that 6% dedication, obviously, has been more with the surcharge in place. So we were lucky enough to have this extra money available for those type of programs these past couple of years. Now with that expiration, that amount of money is going to drop down. So that means, projects in the Pinelands for land acquisition, presumably, over time, will be less money available. But I would say it's more in line with, or more of the concern is related to unmet needs. So not only for our state parks and forests, where we've been talking about how New Jersey lags far behind other states that are putting in so much more money in their state budget for operations, for capital improvements, and we fall behind the national average. The expiration of the surcharge could have presented an opportunity to fill in the gaps for those unmet needs. How else are we going to find funding? And so allowing that to lapse really is turning our backs on some of those issues that the state is currently deal with. I know public transportation is another one. Obviously not as used throughout the Pinelands, but definitely throughout the state. And obviously overall, more people use public transportation, the better in order to address our climate problem. So I would say it's more along the lines of we need more money because there are a number of issues still pending and budgetary needs. Obviously, having less funding for land acquisition is always a problem because the more money we have, the quicker we can to protect lands that are left potentially for development. And for the Pinelands Commission, if we're truly going to address our needs regarding climate change and stormwater problems, then we need to have dedicated staff focused on that. And I know it's not only a problem in the Pinelands, but also in the Highlands as well. So if we're going to have a comprehensive program on climate change that the governor continues to view very strongly and promote, then he needs to fund those critical agencies so that they can do their job as well.
And finally, how long have these 3 vacancies been going on at the commission?
Well, depends how you view it. So we just well, Dr. Jessica Sanchez was just confirmed. She was nominated approximately 4 or 5 years ago. So that was a long time for someone to move into that position. And that truly is more of an issue related to the state legislature than anything else. Obviously, Ed Lloyd just passed away last year in the summer. So that seat, obviously hasn't been vacant that long. The other 2, one is for an individual that essentially has stopped showing up. And that has been, off and on for a good bit of 2 years, but is a leftover from Chris Christie. So that obviously is a long time to have a holdover from a previous administration. And then Heidi or Carlton, if you have an approximate time frame for the last position. So we're still looking at 1 to 2 vacant seats that have lingered for a couple of years.
Well, I think at least 3 years for the last one. Unless you, right, if you treated Devin McCray, he left in January 2013. So that's a more recent,
2023.
2023, yeah. So that's a more
Yeah.
recent vacancy.
Right.
It's clear that the Senate confirmation system is fundamentally broken. And this is reflected not just in the experience of the Pinelands Commission, but in every other commission in the state. It is shocking and totally irresponsible that the Senate president and the Senate as a body cannot move confirmations through the system in an expeditious fashion and either say yes or no to people and get these commissions fully staffed with people who are, in most cases, volunteers, but are essential to the functioning of, some key government functions like the Pinelands program.
Thanks, Tom. Any other questions?
No, thanks.
Anyone else? Okay, hearing none, unless suddenly you were stuck on mute and trying to figure out a way to hit the button. I will say that our report will be emailed out. It is posted on our website. We will share our press release to everyone here today, as well as other contacts. If you have any follow-up questions, obviously our contact information is available. I'm listed with my cell number, as well as my email, as well as our policy director, Heidi. So welcome any follow-up questions that you may have later today.